Welcome to video 4 in the bridge design series. This video is about horizontal layout. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to do the 2D layout of the beams. There's several ways to do this and there's no real right or wrong way. I'll just show you one way of doing it. So let's start by drawing the bearing center lines. We'll go to the Home tab and I'll bring up the level manager and I'll make my level active. So we're drawing on that level. Let's go and place a line that's going to represent our bearing center line across where our road design surface is. And what we're going to do then, that represents one bearing center line, so we'll create a bearing center line at the other end of the span. So let's copy that parallel. Let's say it's a 25 meter span, and we'll make a copy of that element. And that's where the element is. Now what we could do, we could create the end faces of the beam. So I'll just make that level active and we'll just say the end faces are 0.7 from the bearing center lines. And I'll just use active symbology. Okay, so now I've got the end of the beam. Now we'll go and draw the beam center line. Set the beam center line level active and let's draw a beam center line. So I've drawn that beam center line and you can see the beam center line extends past those ends of beam lines. So that's very important. It has to extend past, it has to overlap it because these lines have to intersect at a later stage. So that's the beam center line. Let's say the beam is 0.8 wide on either side. So we go 0.8. I'll make my level active so that when I copy parallel, it's going to automatically end up on that level, and we'll copy it 0.8 the other side. So what we've done then, we've created the first beam, and now what we want to do is create the next beam, and we'll offset, well, we'll say there's 20 mil gap in between the beams. Let's copy that parallel. So we can see we're going to have a 20 mil gap in between the beams. I'll make the beam center line level active again, and that was 0.8. 0.8 from there. Make our level active again, and that was 0.8 to the other side. So that gives us our second beam. We can just keep on building up those beams by copying parallel or whatever other method you want to use. Now I'll just show you a completed 2D layout. And here's the example that I've been working with. And you can see it's got all the beams laid out. And you can note here that these lines don't have to be parallel. I just made them, most of them do end up being parallel, but they could be tapering and, you know, it could be like that. but you'll find generally speaking, most of them will be parallel, but just depends on what your road alignment is doing and how it's tapering. And we can also see here the ends of the beam. They can be separate lines or one long line. What has to be in a straight line are these bearing center lines.